The night sky over the quiet town of Willow Creek was a canvas of darkness, broken only by the distant shimmer of stars. On the edge of town, a small group of locals gathered in the open field, their excitement palpable as they prepared for the annual fireworks display. But high above them, cloaked in the shadows of the upper atmosphere, the crew of the Zarvan spacecraft watched with growing concern. The Zarvan, a sleek vessel from the distant Glarnian system, had been dispatched to Earth on a routine observation mission. Its crew, led by the meticulous Commander Vrixa, had no interest in Earth's customs or celebrations. Their focus was on data, cold, unemotional, and efficient. Commander, a young officer said, their translucent skin glowing faintly under the ship's dim lights, the humans appear to be gathering for a ritual. Shall we initiate closer surveillance? Commander Vrixa leaned forward in her chair, her piercing eyes narrowing. What is the nature of this ritual? The officer gestured to the holographic display, where the humans were seen arranging tubes and cylinders on the ground. It appears to involve explosive devices, highly inefficient and potentially hazardous. Vrixa frowned. The Glarnian philosophy was built on precision and order. The idea of detonating explosives for entertainment bordered on madness. Maintain visual observation, she ordered. We will document their actions but keep our distance. I will not risk our vessel for their chaos. Below, the humans counted down with gleeful anticipation. As the first rocket ignited, its fiery tail streaking skyward, the crew of the Zarvan watched in silent disbelief. The explosion lit up the sky in a burst of color, followed by a deafening boom that reverberated through the ship's hull. What are they doing? Vrixa muttered, her voice tinged with irritation. This serves no logical purpose. Commander, the officer said, his voice urgent. One of the devices appears to be malfunctioning. The holographic display zoomed in on a misaligned rocket, its base teetering dangerously. The humans scrambled to fix it, their laughter giving way to panicked shouts. But before they could intervene, the rocket fired sideways, its trajectory veering wildly. Incoming, the officer shouted as the rocket hurtled toward the Zarvan. The cloaking shield shimmered as the projectile struck the ship's hull, exploding in a shower of sparks and smoke. The crew braced for impact, alarms blaring as the ship shuddered violently. Vrixa clutched her console, her calm exterior cracking as the chaos unfolded. Status report, she barked. Minimal structural damage, the officer replied. But the cloaking shield has been compromised. The humans can see us. On the ground, the crowd fell silent as the Zarvan's shimmering outline became visible against the night sky. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the group, followed by a collective cheer. Look at that, a boy shouted, pointing at the glowing craft. It's part of the show. Vrixa stared at the display, her disbelief giving way to incredulity. They think this is intentional? The officer nodded, his expression mirroring her confusion. It appears so, Commander. They are applauding. Vrixa's frustration boiled over. These creatures are reckless and irrational. She was interrupted by another loud bang as a second rocket misfired, its fiery trail spiraling toward the ship. The Zarvan's defensive systems activated, deflecting the projectile with a burst of energy. The humans erupted into cheers, their enthusiasm growing with each misstep. Commander, the officer said cautiously, what are your orders? Vrixa stared at the scene below, her mind racing. The humans' chaotic celebration defied logic, yet their joy was unmistakable. Despite the mishaps, they were united in their excitement, their laughter echoing across the field. For the first time in her career, Vrixa hesitated. The Glarnian way demanded order and detachment, yet here was a species thriving amidst chaos, their imperfection a source of strength. Deactivate the cloaking shield, she ordered finally. If they wish to see a show, we will give them one. The crew exchanged stunned glances but obeyed. As the ship's outline solidified against the night sky, Vrixa activated the Zarvan's light arrays, projecting intricate patterns of color and motion. The humans gasped in awe as the ship transformed the darkness into a symphony of light. Commander, the officer said, his voice tinged with wonder. What are you doing? Engaging, Vrixa replied, her gaze fixed on the display. If they can find meaning in this chaos, perhaps we can too. As the Zarvan's lights danced across the sky, the humans cheered louder than ever. For the first time, the crew of the Zarvan experienced something that defied logic but resonated deeply, the unifying power of wonder. And as the fireworks continued to burst around them, Vrixa realized that sometimes the greatest discoveries came not from data or analysis, but from embracing the unknown. In the days following the accidental display, the Zarvan remained in low Earth orbit, cloaked once again but buzzing with activity. The crew analyzed the humans' behavior, trying to decipher the deeper significance of their chaotic celebration. Yet, despite their advanced technology, the Glarnians found themselves at a loss. Commander Commander, the officer reported during a briefing, we have gathered extensive data on the humans' pyrotechnic rituals. They seem to serve no practical purpose, yet their cultural significance is undeniable. Vrixa studied the holographic display, which showed the humans' delighted expressions as they watched the fireworks. It is perplexing, she admitted. They invest time and resources into something transient, yet it brings them immense satisfaction. The officer hesitated before adding, Commander, there is another matter. Vrixa raised an eyebrow. Explain. The humans have been attempting to contact us, the officer said, pulling up a series of signals on the display. They seem to believe our appearance was part of their celebration. They have invited us to return for another show. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The Glarnian directive was clear: avoid unnecessary interaction with primitive species. Yet Vrixa couldn't shake the memory of the humans' cheers, their joy infectious even from a distance. Commander, another officer ventured cautiously, perhaps we should accept. Could be an opportunity to learn more about their culture. Vrixa considered the suggestion. Logic dictated that they should remain detached, yet something deeper compelled her to engage. Against her better judgment, she nodded. Prepare the ship for re-entry. If they wish for a show, we will oblige. The following evening, the residents of Willow Creek gathered once more in the field, their excitement palpable. Rumors of the alien craft had spread like wildfire, and the town buzzed with anticipation. Evan, a local teenager and amateur inventor, stood at the forefront of the crowd, his homemade radio scanner clutched in his hands. He had spent the entire day tuning it, hoping to pick up any signals from the mysterious visitors. Do you think they'll come back? His younger sister asked, tugging at his sleeve. They have to, Evan replied, his eyes scanning the sky. They didn't come all this way just to leave. As the first fireworks burst into the sky, the crowd erupted into cheers. But the real excitement began moments later, when the Zarvan descended, its shimmering hull glowing against the twilight. The humans gasped as the ship's light arrays activated, projecting a dazzling display of colors and shapes that danced in harmony with the fireworks. Vrixa and her crew had spent hours programming the sequence, determined to create something that would rival the human spectacle. Evan's scanner crackled to life as the ship emitted a series of signals. They're sending something, he exclaimed, adjusting the frequency. Moments later, a holographic projection appeared in the center of the field, depicting Vrixa's sleek, imposing form. Humans, Vrixa said, her voice calm yet commanding. We have observed your celebrations and wish to understand their purpose. Why do you create chaos when order is within your grasp? The crowd murmured in confusion, unsure how to respond. Finally, Evan stepped forward, his heart pounding but his curiosity overwhelming his fear. Because it's fun, he said, his voice carrying across the field. It brings us together. Fireworks are like magic. They make us feel alive. Vrixa tilted her head, her analytical mind struggling to comprehend the boy's words. Magic is an illusion, a distortion of reality. How can such deception bring meaning? Evan grinned, emboldened by her curiosity. It's not about the science. It's about the feeling. When we watch the sky light up, we forget our worries. For a moment, we're all just here. Vrixa considered his explanation, her crew watching intently. Despite their advanced intellect, they couldn't deny the truth in the boy's words. The humans' chaotic celebration, though illogical, had a beauty that defied explanation. Very well, Vrixa said finally. We will participate. The crowd cheered as the Zarvan's light arrays synchronized with the fireworks, creating a display unlike anything the humans had ever seen. Colors and patterns filled the sky, weaving a story of connection and wonder that transcended language. As the night wore on, Vrixa found herself captivated by the humans' joy. For the first time, she felt a connection to something beyond data and logic, a fleeting glimpse of what it meant to be alive. And as the final firework burst into the night, its shimmering trails reflected in the Zarvan's hull, Vrixa realized that the greatest discoveries weren't always the ones they sought. Sometimes they were the ones that found them. The following weeks saw an unlikely alliance bloom between the humans of Willow Creek and the crew of the Zarvan. Despite their differences, the two groups found common ground in their shared fascination with light, color, and creativity. The humans taught the Glarnians about the art of pyrotechnics, while the Glarnians demonstrated their mastery of light manipulation and precision. Evan became an unofficial ambassador, his curiosity and enthusiasm endearing him to Vrixa and her crew. He spent hours aboard the Zarvan, marveling at their technology and sharing stories of Earth's history and traditions. Why do you celebrate with explosions? Vrixa asked one evening as they observed the humans assembling fireworks. It seems counterproductive to risk harm for entertainment. Evan chuckled, adjusting the fuse on a homemade rocket. It's not about the explosions, it's about the experience. Fireworks remind us us that life is short and beautiful, just like those bursts of color. They're a way of saying, hey, look how amazing this moment is. Vrixa watched him work, her expression thoughtful. The Glarnians had always prioritized efficiency and longevity, yet here was a species that embraced impermanence as a source of joy. It was a concept she found both baffling and intriguing, but not everyone welcomed the alliance. In the shadows of the galaxy, a faction of Glarnian traditionalists viewed the humans' influence as a threat to their way of life. Known as the Conservators, they believed that interaction with primitive species would corrupt their culture and weaken their society. The Conservators' leader, a stern and imposing figure named Lauren, convened a secret meeting aboard a hidden vessel. The Zarvan has strayed from our principles, Lauren declared. They have abandoned logic for chaos, reason for sentiment. This cannot be allowed to continue. The Conservators devised a plan to disrupt the growing alliance. Using stolen technology, they constructed a device capable of manipulating the Zarvan's light arrays, turning their displays into destructive energy bursts. Their goal was simple: to frame the humans as a threat and force the Zarvan to abandon Earth. The Conservators' plan came to fruition during the next joint celebration. Thousands of people gathered in Willow Creek to witness a collaborative display, with fireworks and Glarnian light patterns choreographed into a single, breathtaking performance. As the event reached its peak, the Conservators activated their device. The Zarvan's light arrays flickered and pulsed erratically before releasing a series of powerful energy bursts. The humans screamed as the bursts struck the ground, creating small craters and setting off nearby fireworks prematurely. "Commander," the officer shouted aboard the Zarvan, "our systems have been compromised." Vrixa's heart raced as she assessed the situation. The humans were panicking, their trust in the Glarnians shattered. "Shut down the light arrays and initiate manual override," she ordered. Evan, who had been standing near the control console, stepped forward. "It's not you," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos. "Someone's doing this to frame you." Vrixa glanced at him, her mind racing. "How can you be certain?" "Because I know how sabotage works," Evan replied, holding up a small device he had found near the Zarvan's landing site. "This isn't your tech, it's someone else's." Vrixa nodded, her respect for the young human growing. "If you are correct, we must act quickly to restore order." Working together, Evan and the crew traced the signal to its source, a cloaked ship hovering just beyond the atmosphere. Vrixa activated the Zarvan's defense systems, targeting the Conservators' vessel with precision bursts that disabled their device. The Conservators, realizing they had been exposed, fled into the depths of space. The Zarvan system stabilized, and the chaotic energy bursts ceased. But the damage had been done. Trust had been shaken, and the humans looked to Vrixa for answers. Evan stepped forward, addressing the crowd. "It wasn't them," he said, his voice carrying across the field. "Someone tried to make us think they were dangerous, but they're not. They're here to learn from us, just like we're learning from them." The crowd murmured, their fear giving way to cautious hope. Vrixa stepped forward, her voice steady but sincere. "What he says is true. We came to observe, not to harm. But in doing so, we have discovered something greater than data or analysis. We have discovered the power of connection." The humans slowly began to applaud, their trust in the Glarnians tentatively restored. As the celebration resumed, Vrixa and her crew joined the humans in launching fireworks, their light arrays synchronized in a display of unity. In the weeks that followed, the alliance between Earth and the Glarnians grew stronger. The Conservators' plot was exposed, their influence diminished, and the two species worked together to create a new era of collaboration. Evan continued to serve as a bridge between the two cultures, his passion for invention inspiring both humans and Glarnians alike. And Vrixa, once a staunch advocate of logic and detachment, found herself embracing the chaos and beauty of impermanence. One evening, as they sat beneath a star-filled sky, Vrixa turned to Evan with a rare smile. "You were right," she said. "Fireworks are not about the science. They are about the feeling." Evan grinned, lighting a sparkler and handing it to her. "Told you. Now let's make some magic." As the sparkler crackled in her hand, Vrixa felt something she had never known before, a sense of wonder that defied explanation. And in that moment, she understood what the humans had known all along, that sometimes the greatest discoveries weren't about logic or efficiency, but about the connections that made life extraordinary. And as the sky lit up with color and light, the humans and Glarnians celebrated not just a tradition, but a bond that would shape their futures together, one firework at a time. Months after the near disaster at Willow Creek, the humans and Glarnians began collaborating on a joint initiative to create the most spectacular light and fireworks display the galaxy had ever seen. Dubbed the Celestial Symphony, the event would be held on a massive orbital platform constructed specifically for the occasion. Representatives from dozens of species were invited, marking the first true interstellar festival of unity. Evan, now a key figure in the planning committee, worked tirelessly alongside Vrixa and her crew to design a display that blended Earth's pyrotechnic artistry with Glarnian precision. The project became a labor of love, symbolizing the bond that had formed between their worlds. As the festival approached, tensions rose. The memory of the conservators' sabotage lingered, and there were whispers of another attempt to disrupt the event. Security was tightened, and every precaution was taken to ensure the festival's success. "We can't let fear stop us," Evan said during a planning meeting. "This festival is about more than just fireworks. It's about proving that we're stronger together." Vrixa nodded, her confidence in the young human unwavering. "Agreed. We must demonstrate that unity is not a vulnerability, but a strength." The day of the Celestial Symphony arrived, and the orbital platform buzzed with activity. Delegates and spectators from across the galaxy filled the observation decks, their anticipation palpable. The festival began with cultural showcases, each species sharing their unique traditions and artistry. As the evening approached, the platform's lights dimmed, and the crowd fell silent. The centerpiece of the event, the Celestial Symphony, was about to begin. Evan and Vrixa stood together in the control room, their hands hovering over the activation panels. Months of collaboration and preparation had led to this moment, and the weight of their efforts was not lost on them. "Are you ready?" Evan asked, glancing at Vrixa. She met his gaze with a rare smile. "Let us make magic." They activated the sequence, and the night sky came alive. Fireworks burst in intricate patterns, their colors reflected in the curved panels of the orbital platform. Glarnian light arrays wove through the pyrotechnics, creating shapes and stories that transcended language. The display told a tale of connection, resilience, and the beauty of diversity, a celebration of all that made the galaxy extraordinary. The crowd erupted into cheers, their voices a symphony of joy that echoed through the platform. For a brief moment, the barriers of species and culture dissolved, replaced by a shared sense of wonder. But as the finale approached, an alert sounded in the control room. A rogue signal had been detected, evidence of an unauthorized device hidden aboard the platform. "It's the conservators," Vrixa said, her voice tense. "They're trying to disrupt the finale." Evan's eyes narrowed. "Not on our watch." Working quickly, they traced the signal to a maintenance hatch near the platform's core. With no time to call for security, Evan and Vrixa raced to the location, their determination unshaken. Inside the hatch, they found a device rigged to overload the platform systems, triggering a catastrophic chain reaction. The device was complex, its mechanisms a blend of stolen Glarnian and human technology. "Can you disable it?" Evan asked, his voice urgent. Vrixa nodded, her hands moving with practiced precision. "I will try, but I need you to keep the crowd calm." Evan hesitated before nodding. "You've got this." He returned to the observation deck, where the crowd's cheers had turned to murmurs of concern. Taking a deep breath, he addressed them with unwavering confidence. "Don't worry, folks," he said, his voice amplified through the platform speakers. "We're just dealing with a minor technical glitch. Sit tight and we'll have the show back on track in no time." His reassurance bought Vrixa the time she needed. With seconds to spare, she disabled the device, her hands steady despite the stakes. The platform system stabilized, and the symphony resumed without interruption. As the final fireworks burst into the sky, their light forming a radiant image of a united galaxy, the crowd erupted into thunderous applause. Evan and Vrixa stood side by side, their relief and pride evident. "You saved the day," Evan said, his grin wide. "No," Vrixa replied, her tone warm. "We saved it together." The success of the Celestial Symphony marked a turning point for the galaxy. The event became an annual tradition, a testament to the power of unity and collaboration. The conservators, discredited and diminished, faded into obscurity, their ideology rejected by a galaxy that had chosen hope over fear. Evan and Vrixa continued to work together, their friendship a symbol of what was possible when differences were embraced. They traveled the stars, sharing their story and inspiring others to find common ground. Years later, as they stood beneath the stars on a quiet evening, Evan turned to Vrixa with a smile. "Do you ever think about how this all started?" "Often," Vrixa replied, her voice soft. "A misfired rocket led to an alliance that changed the galaxy. It is poetic." Evan laughed, lighting a sparkler and handing it to her. "Here's to poetry and fireworks." As the sparkler crackled in her hand, Vrixa felt a sense of wonder she had come to cherish. And as the stars shimmered above, she knew that their journey was far from over. For in the vastness of the galaxy, where countless civilizations thrived and grew, the magic of connection and celebration would always endure, one firework at a time. In the years that followed the success of the Celestial Symphony, the tradition of joint festivals between humans and Glarnians grew into a galaxy-wide movement. Celebrations became a cornerstone of diplomacy, with fireworks and light displays used not only to entertain, but to bridge divides and heal wounds. Evan and Vrixa, now celebrated figures, found themselves at the forefront of this cultural renaissance. Their bond, forged through shared challenges and triumphs, became a symbol of hope for a galaxy that had once been fractured by fear and mistrust. But as their influence grew, so did the complexity of their mission. The more species they brought into the fold, the more they encountered resistance from those who clung to old ways. The remnants of the conservators, though diminished, continued to spread whispers of division, warning that unity would lead to the erosion of cultural identity. The most vocal of these dissenters was a Glarnian named Merix, a former ally of Vrixa who had become disillusioned with the alliance. Merix believed that the Glarnians' involvement with humans had weakened their society, and he vowed to restore what he saw as their lost greatness. Merix's actions came to a head during the Centennial Celebration of Unity, a landmark event set to take place on a newly constructed interstellar platform. The platform, named the Nexus of Harmony, was designed to host millions of attendees and showcase the diverse cultures of the galaxy. Evan, Vrixa, and their team spent months preparing for the event, pouring their hearts into every detail. The centerpiece of the celebration would be a light and fireworks display unlike anything ever seen, symbolizing the unity of countless worlds. But as the celebration approached, Vrixa received an encrypted message from Merix. "You have lost your way," the message read. "The Glarnians were once a beacon of order and logic. Now we are a laughingstock, entangled in the chaos of lesser species. I will not let this continue." The message included coordinates for a remote asteroid, where Merix demanded a meeting. Against her advisor's warnings, Vrixa decided to go, bringing Evan along for support. The asteroid was barren and desolate, its jagged surface illuminated by the light of distant stars. Merix stood at the edge of a crater, his posture rigid and his expression hard. Behind him loomed a sleek, black vessel, a stark contrast to the elegant design of the Zarvan. "You came," Merix said as Vrixa and Evan approached. "I did not think you would." "I came because I believe in dialogue," Vrixa replied, her voice steady. "We are not enemies, Merix. There is no need for this division." Merix's eyes narrowed. "You are blind, Vrixa. The humans have poisoned your mind. They thrive on chaos, and you have let them infect us with their disorder." Evan stepped forward, his frustration evident. "You don't get it, do you? It's not about chaos. It's about connection. Fireworks, celebrations, all of it. It's about bringing people together, not tearing them apart." Merix scoffed, spoken like a naive child. "Connection is a weakness, a distraction from progress. That's where you're wrong." Evan shot back. "Connection is what makes progress possible. Look at what we've accomplished together. We've built something bigger than any of us could have done alone." Vrixa placed a hand on Evan's shoulder, her gaze locked on Merix. "You fear change, Merix, but change is inevitable. The question is whether we embrace it or fight it." "I choose to embrace it." Merix's expression darkened. "Then you leave me no choice." He activated a device on his wrist, and the black vessel behind him hummed to life. "This platform of yours, this nexus of harmony, is an abomination. I will see it destroyed, and with it your misguided dream." Evan and Vrixa exchanged a glance, their unspoken understanding clear. "We won't let you do this," Vrixa said firmly. Together, they sprang into action, dodging blasts from Merix's ship as they worked to disable the device. Evan used his ingenuity to disrupt its systems, while Vrixa drew on her tactical expertise to outmaneuver Merix's attacks. The battle was fierce, but their determination never wavered. In the end, they succeeded in disabling the vessel, its power core fizzling out with a final, sputtering hum. Merix, defeated but unrepentant, glared at them. "You may have won this battle," he said, "but your dream will fail. Chaos cannot endure." Vrixa stepped closer, her voice resolute. "It is not chaos we fight for, it is unity, and unity will endure because it is born from understanding and respect." Merix said nothing, his expression unreadable as he retreated into the shadows. The Centennial celebration went ahead as planned, its success a resounding triumph. The Nexus of Harmony became a beacon of hope, its light displays telling a story of resilience and connection that resonated across the galaxy. Evan and Vrixa stood on the platform's observation deck, watching as the final fireworks illuminated the night. The crowd's cheers echoed through the air, a symphony of voices united in joy. You know, Evan said, his grin infectious, for a species that once thought fireworks were chaos, you've come a long way. Vrixa chuckled, a sound that had become more frequent in recent years. And for a species that thrives on chaos, you have shown remarkable clarity. As they watched the sky light up in a kaleidoscope of color, they knew that their journey was far from over. The galaxy was vast, its challenges many, but they faced the future with hope and determination. For in the end, it was not the fireworks themselves that mattered, but the connections they represented. A reminder that even in the vastness of space, unity was a force powerful enough to light the way. The years following the centennial celebration marked a golden age for the Galactic Alliance. Inspired by the unity displayed on the Nexus of Harmony, species from across the galaxy embraced collaboration, using their unique talents to address shared challenges. New technologies, arts, and traditions emerged, blending the best of countless cultures into something greater than the sum of its parts. Evan and Vrixa continued their work as ambassadors, their partnership becoming a symbol of the possibilities that arose when differences were celebrated rather than feared. Together, they visited worlds on the edge of the Alliance, bringing light and hope to places where division and distrust still lingered. But even as they celebrated their successes, they knew that the work of unity was never complete. For every victory, there were new challenges, old prejudices that refused to die, misunderstandings that threatened to unravel the fragile bonds they had worked so hard to create. One such challenge arose on the remote planet of Draylon, a world rich in resources but deeply divided by centuries of conflict. The Draylonians, split into two factions, had long resisted the idea of joining the Alliance, viewing it as an outside force seeking to impose its will. Evan and Vrixa were sent to mediate, their reputation as bridge builders giving them a chance to succeed where others had failed. They arrived on Draylon during the planet's annual Luminal Festival, a celebration that mirrored Earth's fireworks traditions but with a darker twist. The explosions symbolized the destruction wrought by the ongoing conflict. The festival's centerpiece was a massive display of light and sound, designed by both factions but held in separate locations, a stark reminder of their divisions. Evan and Vrixa saw an opportunity to turn the festival into a platform for unity. "We need to bring them together," Evan said as they toured one of the display sites. "If we can show them what's possible when they collaborate, maybe they'll start to see each other differently." Vrixa nodded, her analytical mind already formulating a plan. "We must convince them to combine their displays into one. It will be a challenge, but the symbolism could be powerful." Convincing the faction leaders was no small task. Both sides viewed the other with suspicion, their wounds too deep for simple solutions. But Evan's passion and Vrixa's reason created a compelling argument. "We're not asking you to forget your differences," Evan said during a tense negotiation. "We're asking you to imagine what you could achieve if you worked together. Just for one night." The leaders reluctantly agreed, and the two factions began working side by side for the first time in generations. The process was fraught with tension, but as the festival approached, a sense of cautious optimism began to take hold. The night of the Luminal Festival was a turning point. The combined display was a masterpiece, its explosions and patterns telling a story of conflict transformed into harmony. For the first time, the Draylonians saw their shared history not as a source of division, but as a foundation for a brighter future. The crowd's reaction was overwhelming. As the final burst of light illuminated the night sky, cheers and applause erupted, echoing across the planet. The leaders of the two factions, moved by the display, pledged to begin peace talks with the Alliance's guidance. Years later, the Draylonians became a thriving member of the Galactic Alliance, their journey a testament to the power of unity and the resilience of hope. The Luminal Festival was transformed into an annual celebration of peace. Its light displays a reminder of what could be achieved when barriers were broken. Evan and Vrixa, though older now, continued to inspire through their work and their friendship. They spent their days mentoring the next generation of diplomats and innovators, passing on the lessons they had learned. On the 25th anniversary of the Nexus of Harmony, the two friends stood together on the observation deck, watching as the galaxy they had helped shape celebrated the occasion. The night sky was filled with light and color, each burst a tribute to the journey they had undertaken. "You know," Evan said, his voice warm with nostalgia, "if someone had told me all those years ago that a misfire gas-fired rocket would change the galaxy, I'd have called them crazy. Vrixa chuckled, her luminous eyes reflecting the fireworks. And if someone had told me that humans would teach the Glarnians to embrace chaos, I would have dismissed them as irrational. They shared a laugh, their bond as strong as ever. As the final fireworks burst into the night, forming a radiant image of a united galaxy, they knew that their story would endure. For in the vastness of space, where countless civilizations thrived and grew, the lessons of unity and connection would continue to light the way, one firework at a time. And so, their legacy lived on, an eternal testament to the magic of celebration and the power of bringing people together under a shared sky. Epilogue: the everlasting light. Decades after the events that shaped the Galactic Alliance, the Nexus of Harmony became more than just a platform. It became a living testament to the enduring power of connection. Pilgrims from across the galaxy visited its halls, sharing stories of how their worlds had been transformed by unity. Evan and Vrixa, though retired from active duty, remained fixtures of the Alliance. They spent their days on the Nexus, hosting lectures and workshops for young leaders eager to follow in their footsteps. Their wisdom, humor, and unwavering belief in the potential for change inspired countless individuals. One quiet evening, Evan and Vrixa sat on the observation deck, watching as the galaxy's lights twinkled in the distance. The platform was empty, the crowds gone, leaving them alone with their thoughts. "It's funny," Evan said, breaking the silence. "All those years ago, I thought fireworks were just a fun way to celebrate. I never imagined they'd become a symbol of something so much bigger." Vrixa nodded, her expression serene. "Symbols have power, Evan. They remind us of what we can achieve when we look beyond ourselves. Fireworks may fade quickly, but the memory of their light endures." Evan smiled, raising a glass of Glarnian nectar. "To the light that never fades." Vrixa raised her own glass, her voice soft but steady. "To the bonds that hold us together." As they toasted under the vast expanse of stars, a new generation of leaders prepared to carry their legacy forward. The lessons of unity, resilience, and shared wonder would continue to shape the galaxy, ensuring that the work of connection never ceased. And as the fireworks of another celebration illuminated the night, their reflections shimmering on the Nexus of Harmony, the galaxy remembered the two friends who had shown that even the smallest sparks could light the way to the brightest future. For in the vastness of space, where countless civilizations thrived and grew, the light of unity would forever burn bright, an eternal reminder of what was possible when people came together under a shared sky. And so, their story lived on, not just in the fireworks that lit up the heavens, but in the hearts and minds of those who dared to believe in the power of connection. One firework, one bond, one moment at a time. That, as Evan often said, was the true magic of a shared sky.